Hey folks, welcome to Doc Talk. It's going to be a great show today. My guest is Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz. We're going to talk about how to acclimate cattle when you wean them or when you get them into the feed yard. Some of the things that you can do to help gain trust and get those cattle to respond to you so that they're healthier and they perform better.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Hey folks, welcome to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz. And Dr. Kip, thank you for taking the time to be on the show.
Oh, absolutely. It's always a pleasure, Dr. Dan.
Dr. Kip is a veterinarian, feedlot consultant. He does so much with design of facilities. If you have a new facility that you're building, I suggest this is the guy to get a hold of and utilize his talents. He's seen millions of facilities, so good with cattle behavior, low stress cattle handling, veterinary consulting, just somebody within the industry that has a wealth of knowledge and a lot of energy. So get
A lot of energy. You got to.
That's right. But we're going to talk today about something that you're pretty passionate about, and that's acclimating cattle. And let's start off by, because why do we do it? Some of the frustrations that you had.
Okay, so when I first started out in practice, one of our frustrations was we'd get new arrival cattle coming into the yards, and these cattle would be, about 3-4 days on feed, and we'd start seeing some pretty sunken in ribs and flanks. And we thought those cattle were sick. And so we'd pull those cattle and we'd treat some of them. And then as we kind of got going with our auscultation and the stethoscope, we started identifying that those cattle were not sick. The lungs were normal. And so then it made us go back and look at the dynamics of the pen and really evaluate just the behavior of the new arrivals and what was going on in that pen. What we would see is these new arrivals would come in, and it's things that we missed previously, but cattle would either be bunched in corners, they appeared non-settled, they'd be walking around the pen, for 3-4 days. And in the past, you'd think that, well, that'd be normal because in about day 5-7, it'd fix itself. But, working with Dr. Tom Knopfsinger and Bud Williams, they've taught me so much in terms of settling cattle. Working just recently with Shane Morrissey from Australia, he came over and showed me even some more ideas of how to settle cattle here 2 weeks ago. And it works phenomenally well. It's about spending time with the cattle, though, in that initial 5-7 days. Sometimes longer, it depends. Yep. But 10-15-minute sessions sometimes shorter, but it really, really does help us.
And it's probably even something that, we have a lot of cow-calf producers on the show that'll be preconditioning. It's something they can do as that first day of weaning too.
Oh yeah, I always say, like on the cow-calf side, is the interaction the day that calf is born. If you're putting a tag in the ear, the separation of the mom and the calf during that time, how you do it is so important. And then every time you handle those animals in terms of preconditioning, sorting, weaning, and how you settle those calves and sort and all that stuff makes a big, big difference as far as how those cattle will settle later on.
Awesome. Well, this is a good place for us to take a break. Folks, we're going to have a great show today. Thanks for joining us. More with Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz from Production Animal Consultation after these messages.
To see this show and past episodes of Ag AM in Kansas, go online to agaminkansas.com.
This Prevention Works Minute, brought to you by Beringer Ingelheim Vet Medica, Inc.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan here. Thanks for joining me on our Prevention Works Minute. When we start to think about preventing disease, a lot of times we think about the reason why animals get sick, either an overwhelming dose of a pathogen or a suppressed immune system. When we have a suppressed immune system, most of the time that's due to stress. And one of the things that I really focus on with our feedlot crews and stocker crews is low stress cattle handling. I think it's vitally important that cattle are handled and acclimated in a sense that we make sure that we do not increase the level of stress when we're handling. Make sure that they're exposed to you before you ship those animals, making sure that they understand the commands and that they're acclimated, so that when we ship calves to the feedlot or when we bring calves off the truck at the feedlot, we're practicing good low-stress cattle handling. Will increase the immune response because we decrease the amount of stress that we see in those calves. And we all know that prevention works.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with my friend and colleague, Dr. Kip Lukasavich, and we're talking about acclimating cattle. So, Dr. Kip, kind of talk to me about how you start, or how do you pick out which pens?
So when we first have newly arrived cattle come into the yard, you kind of evaluate what that pen does. When we put them into their home pen or their receiving pen, we kind of look at what are the cattle doing. If some of them are lying down, some of them are standing, some of them are at the water tank, some of them are at the feed bunk, I don't get as aware of those cattle as I would be, or concerned of those cattle as I would be is if I come to a pen and they're all bunched in a corner, or they're milling around or walking meticulously around the pen and not
looking
settled.
for something.
Yes, looking for an out.
Yeah, they're not comfortable. And
yeah. And so then when I see those pens, those are the pens that I tell our crew we have to go to. Now sometimes when we go to that pen, if they all just kind of flush to the back of the pen, they're not inviting you in the pen at that point in time. They're saying, this is a distance and I'd like to get further, but I can't. Yeah. And so you might have to work on the outside of that feed bunk initially. And sometimes if you have square bales, small square bales, that's a perfect time to just go along the bunk and put a little bit of hay in the bunk, you as a person, and do that and show them that you're putting that there. That'll give them a little idea that you're okay.
Yeah, we talked about it on one of the shows. The sale barn there at Junction City had talked about cattle are getting wilder because, people don't get out of the tractor. They have fence-line bunks. We, rolling bales, and then when we treat them on pasture, we shoot them with a dart, and then they come in the feed yard and they see this two-legged thing walking around. They're like, what the heck? Yeah,
they don't know who we are sometimes, other than they know who we are. They know we're a predator.
Yeah.
They know by our eyes, they know by our actions. And so I always tell people, they already know you're the predator. You have to start communicating with them that you understand them. And so put yourself in position to understand them.
This is very similar, Dr. Kip, and until just now, it's very similar to breaking a colt.
Yes, yes. I was asking a guy the other day, when you first go into a round pen, we work in square pens with cattle. When you go in a round pen with a colt, you think about where do you stand. You stand where you look and appear like you are the leader. You are their leader at this point in time. They look for your guidance. They crave your guidance. And so put yourself in that position to where you are creating the movement and you always look like you're leading it from the front. The hardest thing with a new colt is getting them to face up. They always want to turn their butt to you. Cattle, same way. They don't trust you. They want to turn and get away. Yeah. They will face up because they want to see who you are, but getting them to actually face and turn and go with you is a big deal.
Yeah, and then when you're talking about working from the outside of the pen, I think that's really important on especially cattle that are really nervous.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool.
It is.
Well, we're going to get in that pen here when we come back from these messages with Dr. Kip Lukasavich.
I was in an accident where I fell off a roof. I took the conventional route by using medicine, and I went to see numerous doctors. I found that it really wasn't working as well as I had hoped it would. I don't know why I started to research stem cells, but I did. And I visited with the doctors. They were excellent. I had my neck done, I had my shoulders done, I had a section of my back done, my hips, my sacrum, my sciatica, and my tailbone. But it wasn't really that painful. I was surprised at how easily it was done. It took me approximately 4 hours from the beginning to the end. Now I am having better range of motion in my arms and my neck and my back. So it's been very beneficial to me, and I want to thank Kansas Regenerative Medical Center. It was a long road to get there, but I'm so glad that I found them.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Healthy cows start with the new Hired Hand automatic livestock sprayer. Rancher invented to provide an efficient alternative to pour-on and injectable parasite management systems. The portable design allows cattle to treat themselves head to hoof. Strategic device placement with pass-through activation technology takes the stress out of parasite treatment for cattle and the rancher, leaving more time to tend to other vital tasks on the farm. To learn more, visit cowsprayer.com. The new Hired Hand makes healthy cows easy.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
We do business with Blueville because of the quality of their work. It is excellent quality, and because they make a commitment to their customers.
We enjoy the benefits of hiring a good company to help us maintain this home.
We will always do business with Blueville. We have for many, many years, and there's no reason for us to look for any other service.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Kip Luke-Savage with Production Animal Consultation. We're glad you tuned in. Talking about acclimating cattle. We talked about our frustrations, talked about getting started. Now, Dr. Kip, walk us through what you do when you get in the pen and you start working these cattle.
So once we get in the pen, what I like to do is if they are bunched in the corner, is your job or your task is to ask them to leave that corner and go investigate the rest of the pen. And so we will come at them at about a 45-degree angle or so to give them two directions to go. What we found with that left eye versus right eye now, though, is a lot of times cattle will try to keep you on that left. And so don't be surprised if they're over in this right-hand corner or whatever, that they don't go up this fence line that way.
They're going to go back, try to go against the back of the pen.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And so when we do that, I let them do that, and I always lead the front and try to keep lead with the front. What they'll do, cattle like to come halfway around you, and they always return where they came from. They always return where it's comfortable. And so you have to just let them come back, let them go through the process again, put a little bit of pressure on them again. Low stress cattle handling is about putting some pressure on sometimes. Mm-hmm. And we let them keep doing it. As they do that, they'll keep coming, they'll just keep making their way up towards the bunk. We typically don't pressure towards the bunk, we always pressure away from it. But we have let them go and investigate the other corners of the pen. And when they get to a new corner or a new part of the pen, we just back our pressure off and we let them settle in that area and then let them be. And then when they start to face back up and they're looking for more guidance, then we ask them to move again. And you spend about 15-20 minutes sometimes doing it. Sometimes it's less. It depends on the pen of cattle. But what I would always tell people is on new pens of cattle, those are the ones that require our time. We need to spend more time in those cattle. If we want them to stay healthy, and stay free of disease and so forth, you have to allow their immune system to work and fight disease off. All these things have been exposed to stuff from the sale yards or from wherever they're coming from. You got to let their immune system work. Stress will keep that from working. Acclimation will allow them to lessen that stress and get them back up on feed and water a lot quicker. They can fight disease themselves. It makes it better.
Well, it goes back to that analogy with the colt. They learn to trust you.
Mm-hmm.
They learn that you're okay, that you're there to help them, you're there to give them guidance. Now it's okay to come up to the bunk. It's okay to go to the water tank. I'm getting more familiar with my surroundings,
mm-hmm.
and that just speeds up the process. 'Cause you and I both know that we see those calves, just like you're talking about earlier. We go out there, we pull these calves that are gant.
Mm-hmm. They're not always sick. Sometimes they just haven't eaten. Sometimes they haven't drank.
Yeah.
So teach them where those things are at. Teach them that you can guide them to those areas of the pen. And what makes it nice is when you do have to pull one, you have shown the pen that you can take them anywhere in that pen and it's okay. So it's all about training your animals. It's about training them to lead. It's about training them to lead actually in the pen.
Yep.
And that's important.
Yeah, so when you're pulling them or if you're taking them for reimplant or gathering them to ship, you've already gone through the exercise to...
Yes.
And I'm really glad we changed it to acclimation rather than the word exercise because people pictured treadmills and...
Yes, I agree.
Things like that. Well, let's take another break. When we come back, we'll do a wrap-up with Dr. Kip from Production Animal Consultation. You're watching Doc Talk. We're glad you joined us. We'll see you here after these messages.
Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Did you know long-range planning through the checkoff can help keep your business profitable? To successfully pass on cattle operations from one generation to the next, it's important to promote beef and keep farms and ranches profitable. Your beef checkoff helps do that.
I'm Jeff Mingus. I'm from southeast Arizona where we have a family cattle ranch. I've been in the cattle business my entire life. I can remember the onset of the checkoff program and when the Beef Council decided to use checkoff dollars to create additional demand for the chuck and the round. And I think that created a significant increase in the price of our product, and I think the beef checkoff has been beneficial for our operation.
So we moved to an area on a national backcountry byway, and because of that there's a lot of tourists and they'll stop in sometimes, and we've had a lot of people come out to the ranch. So we take that as a real opportunity to educate people about the beef industry. So we built this catering business when I retired a few years ago. I've used beef checkoff recipes over the last 20 years, but when you're really producing that for the public, it takes on a whole new meaning.
As a young rancher, there was a lot for me to learn when I came back to the ranch. I feel as if the beef checkoff gave me additional tools I needed. The beef quality assurance program has helped teach me how to handle cattle in a more effective manner, a way that's the most beneficial to the cow and the most efficient for the producer.
And I'm really proud to be able to say that the beef industry is reaching out to the consumer. I have this one on my website, Gazpacho Steak Salad. It's very popular. And this is one that millennials like because it's quick, it's fast, and they don't have a lot of time to prepare. And this one has been really popular with men because you ask them, do you like to grill? And of course they say yes, and say, well, here's just a couple of recipes, and they grab them.
We feel really blessed that we have one of our sons, Ben, wanting to carry on the ranching tradition, so he'll be a 5th generation cattle rancher in my family.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook or Twitter.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz, who is a veterinarian with Production Animal Consultation. He does everything from design of facilities, helping you pick out the different equipment that you need, pens, anything feedlot, anything cow-calf, pretty much anything beef. Dr. Kip has done and does a great job of consulting. So if you're looking for a consultant, this is a great person to give a buzz to. Dr. Kip, we talked about acclimating cattle. Let's just go back and just kind of talk about what you're recommending to people from the time we get cattle off the truck until processing. What are some things that you tell people to kind of do and look for?
First and foremost is let's make sure these cattle come into our yard, and when they do, we create a 5-star environment. This is a resort. This is the resort I live in every day. So when cattle come off that truck, there's somebody there to greet the cattle right when they come off. We got to count them anyway, so somebody should be in their presence and greet them. Lead them to the pen of where we want them to go. Have someone in front and someone coming behind and leading those cattle to where we need them to go. If you don't have that luxury, then at least greet them cattle and start from the very beginning of asking them to go down the alley and be the gatekeeper, and then follow them up to their pen. Once they're in that pen, give them a couple hours to just kind of get their bearings straight and that they're in a new environment, and then come back and visit them again. See what they're doing. If, like I said, if they're kind of some laying down, some standing up, some drinking, some eating, I'd say we're probably okay. But it still does not hurt to go in there and just get things up and ask them, show them that you're there. Maybe teach them 1 or 2 things, part of the acclimation process.
Yep.
Teach them to lead again. All of that's going to help you. If you can teach them the single file or double file by you in that pen along the fence line, all that's going to set all that up for processing. Because when we get them to the processing tubs in the alleys, it's exactly what we want them to do again. We want them to come around us as a single file and lead and go straight. So it's all about preparation. And then every day after that, once we process those cattle, every day when you're in the pen, I really love for guys not to think of themselves as just pen riders and finding sick cattle. You are trainers. You're trainers every day of that pen. Train your cattle to move. Train them to be responsive. Train them to have respect for the handler. You are their leader, so just teach them to move every day a little bit. They only have to take 2, 3 steps or 5 steps. It's okay. But you do those things, it makes it so much easier to get the pen out. Because when you come to the pen, they look at you for your guidance, and they go, oh man, Dr. Dan's here today. I got to get up and do something again.
Yep. Well, and then just talk about increasing the value of your preconditioned calves. Those calves that come in, eat, drink, lay down,
they start gaining weight.
Those are the ones I want to buy next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys that do this on the ranch, I mean, it's all the concepts are the same. When we get cattle like that off the ranch that have been handled like that, it makes it so much easier to handle them when they get to the yard because they're already used to what's going on.
Well, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, absolutely, thank you.
Outstanding guest, as always, Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz. Remember, always work with your local veterinarian, and if you want to find out more about what we do on Doc Talk, you can find us at www.doctalktv.com. Thanks for watching today. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson with Dr. Kip Lukasiewicz, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.